Good morning, everybody. We're here with Davied van Berlo today, who is from the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality. He's clearly responsible for the fabulous, glorious forests all around us. And he is here today to talk about setting up a network, which is what he's done as well, called Civil Servant 2.0, about Government 2.0. He's going to answer some questions about how do you set up an online community, and particularly within government. This has been a very hot topic recently with a number of journals, such as McKinsey Quarterly and others, talking about how really Government 2.0 hasn't reached the level that it should be reaching. And so there's a broader question in the community about why and where the success stories are. I'm sure he'll be here to tell us about those today. He'll answer questions about what is Civil Servant 2.0 and what is the effect of Web 2.0 on government generally. He's a historian by background with a degree from a Dutch university. And in 2009, he won the Information Professional of the Year Award in the Netherlands from the Society of Librarians, Knowledge Management and Information Professionals. Even though I'm sure you're very sleepy, can you please put your hands together for a warm welcome for Davied?
Thank you. Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, yeah. I must say I'm a bit nervous because usually then I don't give speeches in English because usually, of course, I'm aimed at Dutch civil servants, and you're sort of a different crowd than the one I have usually in front of me. Usually always try and be a bit more interactive, but since this is a bit of a big hall, it's a bit hard to do that, so we'll just do the questions at the end. I think it's easier. I'll start by going to the first slide. Yesterday there was a colleague of mine was here, Arnoud Ponchoen. He works at the Ministry of Interior, and I asked him, well, do you have any tips? And he said, don't wear a suit. Well, incidentally, I'm actually staying with friends in a sort of a farmhouse a bit further on here, so I wasn't bringing my suit to the national park. So I put this on. I hope you don't think it's pretentious for me to wear a sort of a t-shirt that I don't really know what it's about. Anyway, someone will explain, I hope, after this show. So this is not my usual attire. Who am I? I'm working for the Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality. I'm a sort of a project manager there, and I set up a sort of a network for called Civil Servant 2.0. And the question is, of course, I'm here to talk about how this works. I'm not actually here to talk about Government 2.0. They said, no, you have to talk about how this works with communities. But naturally, I'm going to talk about what the community is about as well, because that's my main story. So I'll try to do a bit of both. Civil servant, I've made some notes for myself, actually, but I thought, I might just as well show them to you. And if I'm not clear in what I'm saying, at least you can read what I mean and fill it in yourself. Civil Servant 2.0, it's a network of people who are interested in what Web 2.0 means for government. So I'll first go into that. And I've sort of written a book about it. You can also read the book. It's in Dutch though, but on the internet there's a wiki, and thanks to Google Translate, you can all read it in your own language. Things are so easy nowadays. But Civil Servant 2.0 or Government 2.0 has an effect on in three areas. The main area being, of course, in the relationship between government and society. Secondly, in how organizations work internally. And thirdly, what does this mean for civil servants? What kind of civil servant do you need then? And I think that especially looking at how the relationship between government and society, there's a lot of boundaries that are sort of getting blurred at the moment. And you know, we used to have a situation where we just said, well, we just put a lot of people in a building, and we'll make it smart people, and they sort of work out what has to be done. And there's a sort of, you get this gap between those people sitting there in a building trying to work out all these plans and giving them to politicians, and then people deciding about them. And on the one hand, and secondly, people in the land, the people for which you're working, for whom you're working. So this gap is now, I feel, getting wider at the moment. But there's a possibility to bring these two closer together, to sort of see where you can sort of work together, how you can use knowledge in society, how you can get people to work with civil servants together to get new plans. So that's the external aspect. Internally, the situation is that there's a lot of, there's a hierarchy with all these different organizations within ministries and within local governments that also have all these boundaries between them. And I think there as well you will see that because of a lot of digital new digital software and social media, people can work together over these boundaries, and you get a different sort of organization. And this will mean a lot, of course, for management, how to get things done within organizations, how to, get people from outside your own organization involved in what you're doing. So all these things do require a different sort of civil servant, not one that's very good at writing position papers and that sort of thing, but more of a, perhaps a community manager and a sort of a process manager who is very good at attracting the right people, the right knowledge into his process that he's responsible for, getting the right people around the table, but then in a virtual team, so digitally, and making sure that you make these steps and you get to a result. So that's the three areas where there's going to be, I think, a change in how government work and how government organizations work. So the main area a difference in how things work nowadays, how things work because of the internet and because of Web 2.0, is the fact that, it's actually those three words. The web, it's an open community. If things aren't open, you cannot make any connections, you cannot find information, you cannot find other people. So the openness is really, that what makes it all possible for people to connect and to find each other and work together. Secondly, the social aspect means that it's not about hierarchies and not about people having a certain function and giving people a job and saying, this is what you have to do in your job and that sort of thing, but having the right people there, finding a social network, and perhaps that might be someone who does that for a hobby, or someone who does that only for a very limited amount of time, but getting the right knowledge and the right people together in a sort of a social setting, and with that team getting things done. And thirdly,